So this meeting today is organized basically to give you updated on the progress of the observatory. Last time we meet online was in April, so I will only refer to key and recent progress. But most important today, we want to prepare the next campaign in order to improve our performance, and also to listen you and to see how we all together can prepare and do better the next campaign. So in the first part of this meeting, I will try to update you on that and to present the plan for the next year. And after that, Tancredi will present, will remark the main advice for the next campaign. At the end, we are going to address your question, but anyway, please raise your hand anytime. So as you know, in a while, first framework contract is finishing within July 23, a matter of few weeks. And during this time, we had developed data collection, mainly on hunting statistics over Europe, but also we are generating data on densities of wildlife. We are also analyzing not only the hunting statistics, but also we started to analyze in the frame of the observatory data on abundance. One important activity for us is to strengthen and foster collaboration of this network of professional researchers, administration, etc., which are capable to provide or to generate new information. This is one of the reasons we are here today. So again, we thank very much all your contribution, your effort, which makes possible this first output of the European Observatory of Wildlife, which has been materialized in a report. But as you know, we continue even analyzing the information from the past campaign, and we are already thinking in organizing the next campaign. I don't know if some of you are new to the observatory and you don't know about the what we do. So in this case, please, can you raise your hand? If not, I will just skip a couple of slides that I had for presenting the observatory. But if nobody raised the hands, it's because I understand you all know well about the observatory. I think somebody, okay. I think, okay. So, Dragan, you want to say anything?
No, Joaquin, sorry.
Sorry. So I understand you all know about the observatory, so I will skip this this slide. Okay. Okay. First, Olgirda, you want to say anything? I think I saw your hand, or maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Okay. Then I continue about the past campaign. Well, as you know, in this report, we presented density estimates for the species in a number of study areas of the observatory, particularly for those that are widely distributed and were detected in sufficient number of study areas. We mainly focus on wild boar, but also presented some results for other ungulates, for roe deer and red deer, particularly. Further analysis of this data continues, so I will refer to this at the end of this presentation. We presented in the observatory, 48 study areas from a total of 28 countries. Finally, we managed to, in this report to present density values for 57 study areas from 20 countries. Some of you didn't manage to get this density for different reasons. Even after that, not presented in the report, but being included in the current analysis we are doing, some of you provided densities in some study areas. And still we're trying to solve with one of you to solve the problems that you faced with the field data, the analysis of in your respective areas. So these are the countries where we didn't manage to incorporate data in the report, but later we get some densities for some of you. So thank you very much for continuing doing the effort. So about in this presentation, I will mainly refer to aspects related to the application of the protocol and the main insights that we can get in order to improve. Actually, we believe we are not now in condition to, and we remarked this in the report, to say that we already are showing gradients, trends of population in Europe. Okay, we are just initiating, we are mounting the observatory. We are developing something that for the moment is pilot, but with the aim to be representative and to provide data that will be useful in the coming years. So this is something that we stress in the report. Even when we all had a common protocol, in terms of effort, there was some variability, particularly about the number of camera traps. The average, let's say most of you use a standard number of camera traps between 12 and 15, but some of you already have possibility to include more cameras that probably you have in your institution. There was also some variability in the number of rounds we use because of logistic constraints and other reasons. So this impacted the total number of deployments at the end. Also, there was some variation in the duration of the deployments, but also the total study. So even when we didn't look for this variability, at the end we have this variability. So we managed, we analyze the potential impact of this variability on the result, but we still believe that we need more study area, and particularly that we need new campaign of data. It will be really interesting comparing the previous campaign again the next campaign once we introduce some modification in the protocol, or just we stick more to the original protocol. Okay, so I think this will be very, very valuable. So for us, the next campaign will be essential. If we manage to include more study area, will be great. But if we keep what we have done, and we had the possibility to examine the performance of the studies from one year to other, particularly when we improve the protocol, I think we will get so important insight for the future. So as I commented, I won't go in details, but here you can see that there were some variability in the number of rounds that different study areas use, mainly 1 or 3. Some of you used finally 2 rounds of camera trapping. The number of deployment, the average of the, let's say the typical number is about almost 40, the total number of deployments. It's possible we would like to move to a minimum of 45. The typical duration of the study was about 2.5 months. We will try to increase. Jin, you wish to intervene now?
Yeah, I had a question. The duration of the days, it's the total duration of the study, or it's the duration of the rounds? I mean, we had,
No,
to give an example, we had 3 rounds or 2.
Yeah.
But duration always was 30 days. Will
Yeah.
it be meant? So is it the duration of a deployment or the duration of the study?
The duration of the study. Obviously, depending on the number of rounds, but also some specific some specificities of the study area. The average duration of the deployment was about less than 1 month, okay, but with certain variability. Feel free to intervene. Sometimes I don't see you raise hand, so if somebody wants to say anything, please just interrupt me, no problem. Okay, this is also the taking as a reference the wild boar. This is this slide shows the distribution of the parameters for wild boar. You can see that there are some outliers for certain parameters. In some cases, we reanalyze the data after the report, and we identified some specific problems in some specific areas. Okay, so the current database that we are managing, the ones that in matter of days, Tamar and Anil will share with you. They are working on that. Already solved some problems with some study areas and even incorporated some new study areas. But if you looking at the general trend, you can see that okay, there is a behavior of the frequency of trapping rate in whale boar with certain parameters that are more frequent than other. For the daily range, also we have more or less a central value for this species. And then you have some parameter related to the performance of the camera. We particularly have to pay attention when in your respective study area you identify a important deviation from the general trend. Okay, maybe you are having some specificities in your case, but maybe in other case, it's a way to detect anything that we did in a wrong way. About density, about the daily range, as I commented, there is highly variability between study areas and species. And this confirms something that we already suspected before on the basis on different studies, is that there is need to specifically estimate the parameters for every species in each study area. You cannot say that the daily range or the behavior of the animal is a constant that you can easily apply to any study at any time. Okay. Anyway, for me, what will be also very important for next campaign is to check variability for the same studies from if we suppose we do that the field work during the same period than 2022, will be very interesting to compare if this parameter keep constant from 1 year to other or not. Okay, if so, one potential advantage that I see for REM methods, but also similar methods in the future, is that for the same study area, you implement long-term monitoring. Probably, if you repeat the condition in the future, hopefully, you will only focus on the trapping rate. Okay, but this is just a speculation. Let's see, and this is why it's very important. What happened in the next campaign with this movement behavior parameter of the different species? If they are constant or they are variable, even for the same species, the same season, the same size. Let's see. What about well-board density? Obviously, we found a big range of values. This is the typical behavior of the density in terms of frequency all over Europe. About the coefficient of variation, we saw that it's mainly impacted by the abundance. I mean, the trapping rate of the species. We did some analysis considering the impact of different parameters related to the study design, like the number of deployments, the number of rounds. But I think these results are not had to be interpreted with a lot of caution. This is why, as later Tancredi will refer to you. For the next season, what we aim is to stick more, if possible, to the protocol in terms of number of camera traps that we have and number of deployments, and if possible, to enlarge a little bit the duration of the deployment. But this is a matter that we will discuss later with after the presentation by Tancredi. Okay. So the idea is to obviously the trapping rate more or less will be the same in future studies. If you expect that the density of the wellbore on other species will not change too much, but we expect to reduce the coefficient of variation thanks to this approach. But let's see. This is something you have to evaluate in the next campaign. 1 second, please. Sorry, some people was doing some noise here. Okay, we also made kind of very preliminary evaluation of big factors that may have some impact on the wellbore density. Again, this is quite preliminary. We are not demonstrating gradients or trends all over Europe, but we saw some relevant insights. There was a trend for certain regions to have higher densities, but the effect may be confused among them, because we still need to improve the representativity, the number of study areas, etc. So we also evidenced that some specific areas which are protected, but they are close to urban, they are normally not hunted, presented the higher values. We also demonstrated a trend for where hunting is not performed to present higher values. Particularly, this was not evidenced in protected areas. There are protected areas where hunting is performed and others were not, but this particularly was not evidenced in protected areas. But again, this is a preliminary evaluation, and this is mainly demonstrative to evaluate the potential value of this approach of the observatory. So some important general conclusion about the AGUTI app is that yes, we demonstrated that this application and the functionalities implemented in that application and the further analysis by the script provided by Marcus proved to be useful and to reduce the workload to estimate density and to improve objectivity of measurements, particularly for the REM methods. Okay, and the idea is that AGUTI is improving on a continuous basis. We are just delivering a report to EFSA, including some improvements that we are going to share with you soon. So the idea is once we come back from holidays, probably many of you already are on. Already have done or are doing the field work. We are going to present these updates, so you can be familiar with these new tools when you manage your next projects in AGUTI after the field work. In general, we saw that most participants become self-sufficient and capable to apply this methodology and tool, but still some of you are struggling with that. As you know, we would like this not to be a problem to finally generate the densities, and obviously you have all our continuous support to solve these problems. In some cases, I think Tancredi will refer to this. The problems are related to a correct calibration of the camera track deployment, or maybe you did not annotate the right information you need in the field. Well, Tancredi will refer to this later. So just to finalize, I would like to remark some specific conclusion about particularly what are the next steps that we will need to do in relation to that. And these steps are those that we are next negotiating with EFSA for the next specific contract. Okay. So one specific objective was to generate and provide information and unbiased gradients of population abundance. So for us, what is crucial is to continue supporting the current network, which is the core of the observatory. Obviously, we would like to grow and to become more representative, etc., etc. But priority for us is to support the current network to continue generating this long-term data. Not only to provide gradients, but also to get experience, which will be really useful to guide future monitoring at European level. Obviously, if possible, we would like to involve new study areas and stakeholders. The second specific objective was to provide sound independent guidance on methods and protocols to participants of the observatory. So we has offered training to collaborators, particularly focused on the REM method. But we aim to continue developing practical, reliable multi-specimen methods and protocols. As you know, the data and the protocol is not only compatible with REN, but also with other methods that in some cases have some pros and cons and some cons depending on the specific condition, species, density you expect in your study area. So this is something that even with the data that we already have, we would like to evaluate in the future. And as I will say at the end of my presentation, please be proactive, because you are not used by the observatory, you are part of the observatory, and we want to you to be proactive. And if you have some idea you wish to analyze the data retrospectively for different reasons, for instance, comparing different approaches to estimate density, please just tell us. So some approaches that are promising or that can complement the current approach are methods like the RES, camera track distance sampling. The time to event model is based on time lapse. We are doing some experience on that, not in the observatory, but in our particular research at my institute. And we are having some very nice insights. And also we are testing some camera trapping for micromammal, particularly also based on time lapse approach. But this also is something that we have to discuss for the future with EFSA. Third objective is to develop the network, incorporating different stakeholders, such as regional and national administration, game and wildlife managers, protected area, and research institutions. So our objective is to maintain the core of the observatory, which are you, but we would like to promote the observatory. So please, if you manage to involve your respective administrations or protected areas, hunters association at your countries, please do us. We can offer them support, mainly in terms of training. Okay. The objective 4 is supporting observation point, providing training and facilitating file design and data processing and analysis. So today we already are starting to incorporate learned lesson in next campaign. We continue training as we modify the protocols of the analytical tools. As I commented in September, we would like to tell you about this. We always try to make easier the final stage, the final step of the process. We mean data processing analysis by incorporating new tools, new functionalities. Finally, we also aim to improve population abundance estimation protocol and calibration methods and incorporating information technology. So about next steps, Tancredi will tell you later, which is what we propose for the next campaign. And we continuously are working on artificial intelligence for automated recognition, which will be presented to you in September, and refining the analysis code to make the analysis and results more reliable and the process more effective. Well, finally, also we want to highlight areas and to recommend action to reduce or to make more homogeneous and more representative the population monitoring over Europe. So we would like to increase the number of study areas, fill gaps, particularly in certain bioregion or particularly in certain land use managed option. And particularly from the point of view of the geography, we still see some gaps in the Baltic and Scandinavian area, also in certain countries in Europe. So we are presenting in 3 weeks, better 2 weeks, a final report to EFSA. And in this report, we would like to present the activities done for the next campaign. Okay, so what we are going to ask you is first, if you are going to incorporate any new study area, or you will continue doing the study in the same study area, and second, the main characteristic of this study areas. If they are the same, you don't have to provide any new information. Okay, I think it will be good to present to EFSA for each study area, in order they to see that we are working on that. It will be nice to present a map of each respective study area like this, with a general distribution of the cameras. This can be presented at very low resolution. If you provide also the shape file to us about the selection of the deployments, will be great. Okay, but we are not going to share with them the coordinates. You only will present kind of maps like this, very raw, low resolution map. Even we can increase the size of the points if you wish. About the next campaign. So during this month, we are, Tancredi, Azara, they are very active in interacting with you, because we need to renew and you to sign the agreements for the next campaign. So the fieldwork will be developed optimally from August to October. This is the period of time in which you can fit your specific time, which fits better to you. It's possible try to repeat the same period that you did in the first campaign. So for comparison purposes, this will be very useful. We want to organize the meeting I commented before in September about new functionalities of Faculty, so you can work on the project using these new functionalities. And after that, we would like to refresh the how to run the analysis. Some of you are really very proficient with that, but as always, we have complete availability to explain how to do that. Maybe some of you are new, or there are some new study areas. This is why we would like to refresh how to run the analysis in a very, very short training session. So the data should be processed by the end of November. So during December, you can analyze the data. And finally, early 2024 is when we elaborate a report. As I commented before, we still are working on previous data. Anil, Tamar, they have been in continuous contact with you about some requirements to complete the database. They already proposed a list of factors to be incorporated in the analysis. I would like to remind you that in most of the cases, we already have the estimates, but particularly in some cases, you did not provide the coefficient of variation for the daily range. Okay. If needed, if you don't manage to do it, or by whatever reason you cannot send us the coefficient, if it's not a problem, you can share with us access to the Agouti project. Okay, but please, if you can provide this information, would be great. So Anil and Tamar are presenting this result in a few days. So we are going to provide also before that, in short time, some insights of the main results that we are getting. But just consider this a first exploration, okay, to guide future steps. Also, some study areas of the observatory are involved in a experience, in a trial on determining pathogens in environmental samples. So I think if we manage to get samples within this week, maybe early next week, we are in time to include them in the study. So please, if some of you did not send this sample to us, and you can do that in the next few days, it will be great.